Hello, my name is Ann Beshton, and I'm a Research and Instruction Librarian here at St. Kate's. I'm the subject librarian who works with public health students, staff, and faculty. In this brief video, I'll show you the basics of navigating the library website to find the resources that might be useful for you during your time here at St. Kate's. I will cover how to access the library website, search for books, journal articles, videos, and other materials in our collection, find database listings, research guides, and citation help, use the Find It button to access journal articles from databases, submit an interlibrary loan request for items not in our collection, and find contact information for assistance if or when you need it. You can access our library website in a few different ways. The first is from Kateway. You can see there's a link to the library in the upper right-hand corner. Otherwise, from the St. Catherine University homepage under Academics and under Looking For, you can find a link to the library. Or you can go directly to library.stkate.edu. Once you're on our homepage, you'll see a very prominent search box at the top of the page. If you haven't used the library catalog in a little while, this may be a little bit different than what you're typically used to, because this search will not only search our books, journals, videos, things like that, but also for more individual items like journal articles, newspaper articles, and things of that nature. In fact, it'll actually search for most of the resources that we have access to in our collection. Because this search includes many different types of resources, it is a good place to start when you are beginning your research. However, if you are doing more in-depth research, I would still encourage you to also search in a discipline-specific database like PubMed, because this doesn't necessarily include everything we have access to, and a discipline-specific database will produce a much more thorough search. And I'll show you how to access those other databases in just a minute. But first, I will show you how to use our catalog here. So all you really need to do to get started is enter in your keywords. I usually say to keep it simple, don't add a lot of unnecessary language, because basically whatever you enter in the search box, that is exactly what the database is going to search for and retrieve. So unnecessary words kind of limit your result set. So just keep it short and basic. So we'll put in our keywords here. Hit return and see what we get. Alright, so you can see we get quite a few results here, over 276,000 results. That's because it is searching for so many different things: books, journals, journal articles, newspaper articles, theses, dissertations, things like that. And it's not only searching things that we have access to in our collection, but also the collections of other schools within the ACTC system. So we do share our resources, so we do have a much larger pool to go from to get resources. Because we end up with so many results, it's kind of nice to use the filters that you can see along the left-hand side to start to narrow down our result set to something that's a little bit more manageable and a little bit more useful for whatever we happen to be looking for. So let's take a look at a few of the filters that might be useful for you. The first one is the full text online filter, so that will just limit you to things that you can access electronically. So if you aren't coming to campus very often, that might be a nice limit for you to use, so you can get things that you can quickly access. Also, scholarly articles or peer-reviewed articles, if that's a limit that you'd like to place on your search, you can definitely do that quite quickly. Or items at St. Kate's. So if you don't want to bother with finding things that are available at other libraries, even though we can get them quite quickly, you can limit it to things that are just physically here in our collection here. But I think some of the more useful filters are going to be the content type. So for instance, let's say we are looking for a book on our topic. All you need to do is click on the book or ebook, and it will narrow down our 276,000 results down to only 47,000 results. So this is going to give us just book options. So if you are interested in a particular title, you can get the basic title and author information, but if you click on it, you'll get a little bit of additional information here, including where you can find this book. So for instance, this one is actually only available at Northwestern, Hamlin, and St. Thomas, but that doesn't mean you can't get a hold of it. You can easily click on the request button up here, the red check mark. All you need to do is enter your name and your barcode can be found on the back of your student ID. So your student ID also acts as your library card. So just the barcode on the back there, submit that, and then the other library will pull that book, and then you will get an email when it arrives here for pickup. And it usually only takes about a day, unless it's on a weekend, so it is a pretty quick turnaround time. If we had it here at St. Kate's, you would see it that under the location of St. Catherine University, St. Paul, then you just look for the call number, and then you could go out to our stacks in the library and find it on the shelf there. I'm going to go back to our result set, and you'll see we do actually have a lot of ebooks in our collection as well, so that's nice if you, again, aren't coming to campus all that often and would like to just access something from home. They're pretty easy to get a hold of, so you just click on the title, and then you'll find whatever button says St. Catherine Access. So So some of the other ACTC schools might also have access to the same ebook, so you just look for the one that says St. Kate's. Click on that, and most ebooks should be fairly easy to navigate. They should have things like a table of contents, an ability to search within the publication, so you should be able to fairly quickly find the information that you need. I'm going to go back to my results set now, and this time instead of a book, let's say we are actually looking for a journal article. And more specifically, I want something that's a little bit more recent, so you can use the publication date range limit down here to limit to a particular time period. So you can enter in dates within these boxes here, or you can select from one of these options. So last 12 months, 3 years, or 5 years. So let's say I'm looking for a journal article from within the last year. And let's also say that I am looking for a peer-reviewed article. All right, so now we have all of our limits applied to our search, so that knocked down our results site quite a bit. Once you find one on the list that you are interested in, all you really need to do is click on the full text online link. So most of our more recent journal subscriptions, I would say anything within the last 10 to 15 years, is probably going to be available online. If it's a little bit older, it might be available in print, and then you'd have to go out into our collection, into our stacks, and find it there. But again, most of what you're going to be looking for is probably going to be more recent, so you'll be able to access it online. All you need to do is click on the full text online link. Most of the time it's going to bring you right to the article. So if we click here, you can see that you can then download the PDF. Sometimes it will just bring you to the journal itself, and then you can use the citation information that you see along the right-hand side here to try and find the year, the volume, the issue, and then eventually the page number of the article that you're looking for. So always remember that the citation information is along the right-hand side here, so you can still navigate to find the article that you're looking for. But more often than not, it is going to bring you directly to the article itself. I'm going to go back to the results set list and just go through a couple of the other limits that are available. So you can limit down to a particular discipline, so you could click on public health if you're looking for a particular subject term, and then the other useful one would be language. So you could limit down to just English or whatever language that you prefer. So that is our library catalog. I'm going to go back now to our library homepage and point out a few other useful features that might be helpful to you during your time here at St. Kate's. I mentioned before that using our catalog is a good place to start when you're doing research, if you're just kind of in the beginning stages. But again, you might want to actually think about consulting a discipline-specific database when you are doing some more in-depth research. So the best place to go to try and find those databases to go into would be to click on the articles option here underneath the search box in our main homepage here. What this does is it's bringing you to basically a listing of all the different databases that we subscribe to here at St. Kate's. And we do subscribe to quite a number of different databases. So it can be hard to kind of filter through all of them and find exactly what might be useful for you. So we do have this nice databases by subject option. So if you click on that and you scroll down, find whatever discipline you're working in. So in this case, obviously public health. And basically we have tried to pull a few relevant databases that might be useful for you. So we have CINAHL, Medline via PubMed, and a couple other ones that might be useful. So you can give those a try. Otherwise, if you have a specific database in mind and you want to see if we subscribe to it, you can click on the selected database, and this is basically just an A to Z listing of all of the different databases that we have in our collection. Along the right-hand side here, we also have kind of our list of favorite databases. So there are a few here that might be useful to you as well. So CINAHL is a nursing and allied health database, but it can be useful in public health also. You'll also see a link to Google Scholar, so if you are used to using Google Scholar, definitely connect to it through the library website. That way you will get the links to our library catalog, so you can see if we have access to that particular article in our collection so that you don't hit a paywall. And then we do have two options to search the database called Medline. So that's one of the most often used databases in the health sciences, and we have two options for that. The first one is Medline via EBSCO. And then another one, which many of you might be already familiar with, is Medline via PubMed. So both of those are listed here on this list. With pretty much all of our databases, all of the databases are searching kind of a wider body of literature than what we maybe necessarily have a subscription to. So what you're going to use in almost all the databases is something called the Find It link to see whether or not we have access to that particular article that you are looking for. Our library website just went through a redesign process, and unfortunately some of the databases aren't displaying our Find It links correctly, but this is ideally what you should see in the future. So just a purple Find It link, so that's what you're going to keep your eye out for in most of the databases. Hopefully by the time that you view this presentation and start using our resources, this issue will be fixed, but this is what the Find It links should look like. And I will actually use PubMed to demonstrate how to use those Find It links. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to PubMed. Again, I'm just going to put in some keywords. Get our result set, and basically just need to find an article that I might be interested in. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one here. So like I mentioned, we just went through a redesign process and some of our Find It links aren't displaying correctly. So usually, hopefully in the future, you will see a purple Find It link where you currently see this turquoise one. But then all you need to do is click on that, and that is going to connect you to our catalog to see whether or not we have access to this through our subscriptions. All right, and you can see once again, it did bring us directly to the journal article, so we should be set there. And again, you can see the citation information is along the right-hand side here. I'm going to go back to our results set list because sometimes we don't have access to everything that you might be looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and try accessing this one. So this is the indication that we do not have access to this particular article. You can see down here it says, sorry, no holdings were found for this journal. But that doesn't mean that you can't get your hands on this article. We have a free service for you called Interlibrary Loan. In which case we will try and get a copy of it from another institution, and all you need to do is click on the request a copy through Interlibrary Loan. First time you use it, you will log in with your Gateway username and password, and you'll fill out some basic information, including your barcode. So again, remember that's on the back of your student ID. And then once you do that, all you need to do is click on Submit, and we will try and get it from another library, and then it's usually delivered to you via email. So you'll just get an email notification when it's ready to be picked up. And you'll just you receive a link, and you'll just click on that and get into your account and pick up your article online. So you do need to allow for a little bit of extra time for that, but as long as you give yourself enough time when you're doing your research, you should be able to get your hands on pretty much anything that you will need for your research. So again, look for those Find It links in pretty much any of the databases that we have access to in our collection. I'm going to go back to the home page. So the next thing I want to show you is our research guides that we have. So if you click on research guides from underneath the search box, basically we've tried to just pull together resources that might be useful for you as you're doing your research, and just trying to pull together all the resources into one spot. So you can search for a different subject, or you can browse research guides by subject if you click on that. So now we get our list of research guides by subject. So if we scroll down to Health and Medicine, we should find Public Health on the list here. All right, so here's the Public Health Research Guide. So we have some information when you're just kind of getting started with your research. One thing that might be helpful is this designing your research strategy. So it talks about topic formation and also about forming your search strategy. So if you want to get and do a little bit more complicated search strategy using Boolean operators, things like that, we have some tips and tricks there for you. Under the Articles tab, again, we've tried to pull together some different databases that might be useful for you. So along with that databases by subject guide for public health we do also have this articles tab in the research guide that has, I think, a little bit more complete list of different databases that might be useful for you. So you see we have both Medline options, Google Scholar, CINAHL, and things like that. We also have a few kind of help guides here as well that might be useful if you're not particularly familiar with using a database. We do also have some tutorials on searching. So we have a couple of tutorials from the National Library of Medicine on using PubMed. Also a nice video on using CINAHL. Also RefWorks, which is a citation management software tool that you can use. It's free for you to use. It allows you to keep a database of your citations and easily format both in-text citations and a list of references using Word. So we do have a tutorial on that if you are interested in using a program like that. The book section, this is where you can connect to find the search for our library catalog, and then a couple other health and medicine ebook links there as well. Websites to just a few helpful resources on the web that might be useful to you. There's obviously a lot of information available online. Some of those sites are more trustworthy and reliable than others, so here's kind of a nice list of good, reliable websites that are out there. Another helpful section might be citing and writing. If it's been a little while since you have written a paper, we do have quite a lot of help information both within this guide here and then on our website. I'll point that out in just a second to help you with the citing and writing process. So if it has been a while, we have plenty of resources to help you with that, help refresh your memory For APA, we have a quick guide that kind of gives you the citation styles for the most often used kind of different types of resources like books, journal articles, things like that. We also, online, we have access to the style guide to electronic references. So the main APA style guide does not have real great examples for electronic references, so this one will give you some really good examples to follow. We also have a tab for information on health disparities, global health, and health data. So you might be working with a lot of data and statistics in your studies, so we have a section here also to help you with that piece. And you can see we do break it down by data and statistics within the United States, international, and Minnesota. And you'll also notice on the Getting Started tab that you can find my contact information pretty easily. So this is one quick way to try and get a hold of me. So you can see my email, and if I'm logged into chat, you can chat with me from this page as well. I'm going to go ahead and go back to our home page. So I did point out the citing and writing section that we had within that public health research guide. But we also have another section just on our main website as well for citing and writing assistance. So all you need to do is click on the citation styles. You might often be using APA, but whatever citation style you might happen to be using, you can click on that style and see what we have available in that particular writing style. So most of them are going to have at least a nice quick guide that will give you kind of the basics of using that style, and then some additional resources as well to help you with that process. You also saw on this page we do have a link to RefWorks. Again, if you do want to try and start using that citation management software tool, you can definitely do that from here. We also have some information on writing help and plagiarism if you need to also kind of brush up on those skills as well. I already showed you one way to submit an interlibrary loan request. That's by going through a database, but you can also just submit an interlibrary loan request kind of right off the bat if you already have a book or something in mind that you're looking for. You can find that information under the Services tab on our website. If you scroll down, you can find Interlibrary Loan, and then you can log in from there and submit the request for the book or journal article or whatever you'd like. Books do take longer because they do require us to have a book sent from another library. So while you can get articles usually within a few days, a book can take longer. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your research if you do need print material. I'll also just quickly point out these services for students, something that might be helpful for you, especially if you are not on campus all that often or you're trying to access a lot of our things online. We do have this off-campus access guide. So this can help give you some troubleshooting tips and tricks if you are having some issues with accessing some of our resources. We have just an About section, troubleshooting, special situations, and making URLs work off campus. So again, if you run into any issues with accessing our resources from off campus, give this a shot, and this might be able to help solve some of your problems. All right, you can go back to the home page once again. If you ever run into any issues while you're doing your research or you'd like some additional assistance, please do not hesitate to contact the library or myself. There are a number of different ways you can get in touch with us. So one easy way, if you go ahead and click on the Help button, there are a number of ways that you can reach us. So the first way is through chat. So if our reference desk is open, you'll see a chat box here that will connect you to one of the St. Kate's librarians, and we'd be happy to help you out via chat. But even if we are not on the reference desk, you will always see this box here. So this is our after hours chat service. So you will be connected to some a librarian somewhere in the world. Probably if it's midnight, it won't be me, but somebody from our worldwide chat service will be able to at least help you get started with your research. So even if it is midnight or 2 a.m., you can still get some assistance with your research. So just keep in mind that that's always there. You can always visit us in person during kind of typical business hours. Our reference desk is open Monday through Saturday, and you can see our hours here. You can also email us, so we usually get back to you within about a day. You can call us during those reference hours. And you can also text us during those reference hours as well. So again, text usually works better for really short questions, so nothing too in-depth, but we can answer some basic questions via text as well. You can make an appointment to meet with a librarian. So if our reference hours don't work out for you, or you want to set aside kind of some additional time to work through your research, you can definitely make an appointment. It will likely be with me since I'm the subject librarian for public health. But you can just click on this Make an Appointment and fill out the form, and one of us will be in touch with you. Otherwise, if you would like to get in touch just with me directly, if you click on the About Us section, and scroll down to staff contact info, and then find your subject librarian. And I will be right at the top here. You can click on More About Anne. And you can find my phone number, my email address. You can even look at my calendar to see what time slots I might have available. I'm happy to meet with you in person. If you don't come to campus that often, I can also set up online meetings with you so we can meet through Google Hangouts or even just call on the phone. So I'm more than happy to try and help you with your research. So please do not hesitate to reach out and ask for assistance. That's what we're here for. Thanks.